Yeah, well, you remember that NFC Championship game? You and I did not. Which
one?
In 2014. Hawk and I did not discuss that game until July of that year. And then even then, it was like a 3-minute conversation, and we decided we needed to stop.
Do you remember I flatly refused to bring it up with you?
I didn't want to talk about it.
No, neither did I. It's like, why the would we bring that up and ruin a perfectly good evening?
Is there a more heartbreaking team when it comes to the playoffs than the Green Bay Packers? You can talk about the factor of sadness in Cleveland all you want. When you talk about a team that has broken the hearts of their fans more, no other team has done it
recently or all time.
I'd argue last 20 years. One Super Bowl with Favre.
Okay, what about the Buffalo Bills?
That was more than 20 years ago. Next,
come on,
and the fact that they did it, they made it to the playoffs. But when you talk about 4th and 26, when you talk about NFC Championship twice against the Giants in Green Bay, when you talk about Atlanta coming to Green Bay and losing that game, when you talk about that bomb to Randy Moss to end the game, was that an overtime when he mooned the crowd?
No, it was just late in the game.
No. It was late in the game, but it won the game. I mean, you talk about a team that has you talk about the Arizona game when really if the refs would have thrown a flag, the way that Aaron Rodgers has played the rest of the year or the rest of his career, had they thrown a flag for that illegal hands to the face, I bet you would have thrown a bomb and gotten a touchdown to end the game.
But here's the thing.
And which Arizona game then? Last year?
Or the 51 to 45.
I'm talking about the one in 2010.
Jesus, Dave, and we didn't even bring up 2 years ago.
When Larry Fitzgerald took over the game and said, all right, I'm going to win this.
Yeah, and that was a complete breakdown by the Packers, absolutely. It wasn't just Larry Fitzgerald being himself. It was their lack of discipline on defense and being able to cover that guy. And they lost the game because of it. So, yeah, I don't disagree with you. But remember that you have to be there in the first place for them to break your heart. So either they cannot be there and they can be the dumpster fire in the factory of sadness and never be there, and then you don't get to have those memories of 4th and 26 and all of the rest of it, or you can be the factory of sadness. Or you can have your team in the playoffs constantly, and that's why you get these memories, and that's why you think it's so bad, is because they're always there. They're always in it. Like Jared Lorenzen said, remember this, Dave, when we interviewed Jared Lorenzen a few years ago, and I said, this is a guy that holds records over Tim Couch at Kentucky, and he stopped me and he said, well, come on, guys, that's a longevity award. I was there longer than Tim. I played more games than Tim. So that sounds good on paper, but the truth of the matter is that I threw more footballs than he did. And he's right. So if the Packers are in it more, there's going to be more of those memories. Yeah, you'd like more of them to be positive or positive, as Mike McCarthy likes to say. But if they're not there, then you don't even get to talk about that. So wouldn't you rather have them there? I think I would. And by the way,
You'd rather have that memory of Terrell Owens slicing the Packers defense in the 1998 playoffs.
I'll never forget it.
Oh.
Craig Newsome should have had him. But Craig Newsome was also 7 inches shorter than Teo. That's why they threw it to him. If they're not there and they're not in the situation, then you don't get to have good memories. Like the 2010 Super Bowl.
But that was awesome because we won.
Right. So you're both taking Lions. I'm taking Seahawks. Fine. Great. All right. Down to the one we've been waiting for with bated breath. Giants, Packers, Lambeau Field. Sunday, 3:40 Central. Boys,
I'm waiting to hear Hawk because I need to be talked into this one. I need a reason to feel good about this game.
Okay, Hawk. Well, give it. Come on.
If I was not a fan of either team involved, and the thought I've given this basically breaks down as follows: you go with a hot hand. And, to some degree. So the Giants have won a couple games. They beat the Redskins last week. They beat the Detroit 2 weeks ago. I forget who they played 3 weeks. Okay. Well, first of all, there's the awesome pro football reality of going 11-5 and being a 5 seed. That sucks.
Yep.
That being said, honestly, I think what you saw this year from the Giants, they were awful last year. right? They were they damn. I think they finished last in their division, didn't they?
Well, that entire division. Remember, the Redskins
entire
won
division
that
was
division
bad.
at 9-7.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, I think there's always a bounce back effect when you're that, because then that really helps all your kind of.
There's a market correction.
Well, there's
right?
a market correction, and there's also, don't forget there's those 4 or 5 games then that you therefore go play number 3 finisher in the AFC East. You know what I mean? Because you finished 3rd. So I think a lot of times you see these. Well, the Giants are 11-5, and last year they were 5-11, I think, or something close to that. Well, the turnaround is not as big as what you see, because ultimately they played teams this year. Their division was a little bit better, actually a lot better. I'm sorry, but in the end, I just kind of look at the Giants as, and maybe it's just part of their reality of being in a mass media market. It's always something with that team. And now we have this whole thing with the boat going on this week, which, hey guys,
why is it always a boat?
If you're gonna do that, don't take any pictures of it.
Oh, they have to. It's their ego,
and that's just it, though. I mean, and that's the thing that's so dumb to me. It's like, just do it. Just be clandestine about it. Just like Dave doing the dishes. There's the occasional clink in the background. But and seriously though, it's like, you don't need to go to the club. You don't need to be seen by everybody, which they made it a point to be seen.
Yeah, of course.
And it's just like, you guys are idiots. And at the same time, your right to recreate however you want is yours. But during the season, I think the team that pays you a load of money, they might get to have a little bit of a say in it. Until it's in your contract, then they don't have a say. That being said, I don't think the optics of it look very great. But again, I don't think that bunch really gives a shit.
No, they don't. And I honestly don't think it'll affect them. I really don't.
Agreed.
No, I don't think so either.
Just because they took a day off and flew to Miami, that's not good enough for me.
I think it will be a close game, but I go with the hot hand. I go with the home team in that situation. Even truly not being a Packer fan, and I think Green Bay will end up winning a close game. The only wild card is if we have next to nothing of a secondary. The only thing that balances it out is, well, the Giants have awesome receivers. They have an absolute moron at quarterback.
Yeah, it's the frowning Muppet at his best. David, are you ready?
When it comes to the New York Football Giants offensive wide receivers, I don't trust him against the Packers defensive backs. Eli Manning still has done enough. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. I mean, even a blind pig finds a corn on the cob every once in a while, but to do it twice, he's not a horrible quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback, but he is a quarterback that most teams would be happy to have. We don't have to deal with the nightmare of having to deal with the head coach, Tom Coughlin, who's going to be probably in Jacksonville. Man, the Giants in Lambeau Field, I could see them winning in a shootout, 33-27.
So you're taking the Giants.
Yeah.
How much of this factor of Ben McAdoo being a coach in Green Bay for a while, do you think that's any of a factor, either of you?
I throw nothing at that whatsoever. Matter of fact, I think it's actually probably better for the Packers that it's not Coughlin. Now, that said, I think if the Packers win this week, then I pick them to win the following week as well, whether it's Atlanta or whether it's Dallas.
Okay. And if the Giants win, think they can beat Dallas?
No.
They beat them twice in the regular season.
No.
Dak Prescott, rookie.
No.
Rookie mistakes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the way I looked at this today, after I had hammered it out with someone else, sorry, I cheated on you too. At first I said, I think it's 50-50. The Packers defense is banged up. Their secondary is riddled with injuries. Aaron Rodgers, yes, has played out of his mind. I think Eli Manning has been my quote-unquote schizophrenic part of that too. I love that word in sports. He can be very good, or he can throw another interception. He can be Matt Schaub, or he can be his brother. Not Matt Schaub's brother, his own brother. He could be one or the other. And whether he is the other, that might be the difference. Now, if the Packers can get some type of pass rush on them, there won't be as much pressure on the secondary that's banged up. However, if they don't, I love what the Packers did last week in filling in for those guys. They finally thought outside the box because they had no other choice. They moved Micah Hyde up. They played Morgan Burnett against the slot guy. Love it. Love it.
The wild card is going to be Dom Capers because he's either going to break your heart or he's going to be innovative and come up with something that you've never fucking seen before.
Absolutely, and I don't disagree with you. But if they do a little bit more of that, if Demarius Randall at least can get out there, he doesn't have to be covering Odell Beckham the entire game. But if he can be out there, fine. Another body, right? If they play Morgan Burnett where they should, if they, and I say where they should, not just at safety, but, moving him up, playing in the middle of the field a little bit more. Micah Hyde playing potentially 3 different positions. Safety, dime corner, regular corner, whatever it is. I think he's versatile enough to do that. I think he's got something there. Why not? Why not? And if we go with the hot hand, which is not the Giants, even though they're 11-5, because they didn't. I mean, yeah, they had a good season within their record. They did some impressive things along the way, but remember that defense, that high-priced defense, played like dog in the beginning of the season. Jason Pierre-Paul and Olivier Vernon had no sacks up until like week 7 or some shit like that. They were awful. And JPP, he's not even going to play either.
Really?
Yes.
Is he losing his grip or coming up a couple digits short, or what's going on?
Solid. Very good. All of that said, I will give them 60-40. Because, yeah, I do think it's going to be a close game. The Giants will be up for this game. The weather's not going to matter. They play in New York. It's cold there. They have an all-world receiver with a quarterback that sometimes has a real dumb bean on the top of his shoulders. But all of that said, I'll give him 60-40. And if it ends up being 23-20, so be it. And at some point, both of these teams have to prove something in that game to everybody. So then whoever wins that and go, well, they really proved something against the Packers. Oh, they really proved something against the Giants. Fine, let it be like that. If the Giants go and play the Cowboys for the 3rd time,
yeah,
that's how I feel about that. Will I watch it in divisional round weekend? Yeah, I will. But really, I don't really care if they play them for a 3rd time. It bore the living shit out of me. But I'll watch it. But it'll be the same thing. Well, the Packers have been hot, but they really proved something against the Giants, a team that went 11-5 this year. Beat the Cowboys twice. If the Packers can beat the Giants again, after having beaten them in the regular season, and the Giants beat the Cowboys twice in the regular season, well, the Packers have to win this game against Dallas. I'm taking the Packers 41-10. That's the type of that we're going to hear if the Packers win. So you're talking about leaving it at arm's length this week, Hawk. Imagine if they win on Sunday, how much worse it's going to be. And it will be worse. And we are fans. We are top-notch fans. However, we can't stand that. Can't stand it. And I think that they could lose this game. That's why I'm only giving them 60-40, because they're at home and they've been hot. Otherwise, it'd be 50-50. It'd just be a toss-up. Grab a coin, let's flip it.